And now let's get back to paying attention. And once again, here's your host, the Tom Duggan.
Settle down.
You get a the?
I get a what?
A the.
The Tom Duggan. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yep. There's only one.
Did you get much bigger since the last time I saw you?
I did. Well,
Wow.
I haven't seen you in a while. So once we left radio, Paul's not really good at communicating with people. Like, he didn't never call me and say, hey, let's go for coffee, or hey, I'm in North Andover. I'll come by your office and say hello.
Oh, how many calls did I get from you?
I don't know.
Oh. Okay, I'll just call you the Tom Duggan from now on.
But I'm Tom Duggan, though. You're supposed to be calling me.
Oh, because you're the.
I don't want to sound like Uncle Frankie, but
The Tom Duggan, yes.
Right.
Indeed.
Right. So we have a guest here with us today. We had him on the show a couple weeks ago. We're going to have him on again, too. Mike Demers and his mom had a fuel delivery from Hafner's Oil at their home in Salem, New Hampshire. And Hafner's overfilled their tank by about 250 gallons. Is that right? I'm always wrong with my numbers, so I got to check. And the oil went everywhere. It seeped into the ground. It got into the foundation. It got outside. It got into everything. It got into the walls. It got into the sheetrock. It got into the studs. It got into everything. And according to Mike, the insurance company for Hafner's Oil, Acadia Insurance, came in and promised them they were going to make it right. That they were going to put them back to where they were before this happened. And they didn't. They put him and his family up in a hotel, or a motel. They sent some environmental people down there to try and clean it up. They cleaned up some stuff, but they didn't do an adequate job to the Demers family's satisfaction. So the Demers family took them to court, and because Acadia has multi-billion-dollar lawyers and law firms, and Mr. Demers and his family don't, they ended up losing that case. So what Mike decided to do was go on a public relations tour, so to speak, and started a boycott of Hafner's and Acadia Insurance online, on Facebook, on Twitter, probably a couple of other things. And he started going after the people that promised his mom that they would make it right, the agent from Acadia that promised his mom that they would make it right. He started going after some of the people that were part of the environmental groups that promised they were going to make it right, the environmental cleanup groups. And Acadia has filed a lawsuit against Mr. Demers for libel and slander to try and get him to take down all of his stuff online. Now, what he's saying online, I'm looking at it right now, what he's basically saying online is we might have lost our court case. Legally, there's nothing we can do, but morally, these people promised my mother they were going to make it right, and I think they ought to make it right. And until they make it right, we should boycott Hafner's. We should boycott Acadia. Now, without even talking about whether I agree or disagree with any of that, we have a First Amendment in this country. And the First Amendment is under attack every day in our courts. And this is one of those cases where our First Amendment is under attack. Because if this multi-million-dollar company can shut Mike Demers up and get him to stop putting what he's putting on Facebook and Twitter, what does that say for the rest of us? I mean, if I have a plumber that comes to my house and he screws something up and I sue him, and he's got a better lawyer than me, or maybe he for some reason just gets a good judge and he wins, I should still have the free speech right to say this guy screwed up. I should still have the free speech right to say, hey, look, maybe he won in court, but maybe he should just be a freaking human being and come to my house and fix it and do what he was supposed to do. As Americans, we still have that right. And I check the papers every morning because there's a lot of people in this country trying to take our freedom away. But as of this morning, we still have free speech. We still have a First Amendment. Mike, can you talk a little bit more about your case? Reader's Digest version.
Yeah.
And where you are now. You're going to be in court. Your trial starts on Wednesday next week in Hillsborough.
Tuesday and Wednesday in
Hillsborough County Superior Court?
Yeah, correct. We just had a pre-trial meeting last week where now we're going to get together our witnesses. I'm going to call my mother in and my stepdad.
Are you being represented by anybody?
No. So
you're gonna look at this.
So I'm gonna do the best I can. I've been doing a little bit of studying there, doing my legal boot camp training there in the last several months, actually over a year or so. There's a lot involved with introducing evidence, you gotta learn that stuff. You
got a multi-million-dollar company.
Rules and stuff you gotta follow, and your evidence don't get in. If you don't present it right, and I gotta learn. I've been trying to put it all together, get a grasp on on it. And
But you're representing yourself pro se, so you should have a little bit more latitude from the judge, hopefully.
they've been
do.
very fair with me.
Yeah.
They've been very fair with me. But like I said, we just got to go over all our exhibits and our witnesses. I'm going to try and bring in. See, one of their statements, I don't know if they're complaining about is I say on my website that the company spent nearly $1 million between cleaning up the home and taking my mother to court. I say those words on my website. And they're saying that I can't say that, but the facts are they spent over $400,000 and they spent X amount, a large amount back to my homeowner's insurance, and then they had X amount that they spent on the court case fighting it. Now, I have a reliable source. Actually, the Hafner's scene representative who was on this spill, and he was at the court case. I bumped into him at a coffee shop one day. We talked, and he told me, you know, Mike, between me and you, they spent about $946,000. This is what I saw. So when I say on my website they spent almost $1 million, I'm not trying to make this up.
Right.
This is reality of what happened. Right. But there's another serious issue with one of the things that happened early on. 3 weeks into the oil spill, the environmental contractors, Empro and Ambrose, hired by Acadia to take on the cleanup, tried to move us in the home. And there was a serious issue because a couple weeks into it, my mom and I were getting really, really, really sick.
From the fumes.
From the stuff, right? And they were trying to move us in with 50 tons of documented. And the end report says there was 52 tons on the property. At that time, there was 50 tons documented on the property. And we got really sick and we contacted the insurance agent and we said, and the environmental guys were telling them about it. This is reality of what happened. And we were trying to get reimbursed for our furniture and our tiles at the time, a month after the spill. And the insurance agent told us, you guys went to the hospital. It's not related. We will not be paying any more of your bills until the end of the claim. Okay.
What did he use? What was his evidence that it wasn't spill related?
He didn't.
You didn't break your leg like in your car 3 days later.
It was reported to his environmental contractors and him. At the same time, we were trying to get reimbursed for our tiles and our furniture, and I was sending them faxes and stuff and emails. And he found out, and he said they were initially paying for it, and then all of a sudden. The fact is, they stopped paying for those hotel bills, and my mother was devastated. So we had a meeting at the DES. I just found the audio tape. I recorded.
What's DES?
New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. Okay. I had because we complained that they shut us off, and we're not getting. My mother's on credit card, and she's devastated, scared to death of her words. She says on this audio tape, we met with six agents from the Oil Remediation and Compliance Bureau, and that's the tape I sent you. And on that tape, it discusses how there's an issue with the odors. We're getting sick. We complained, and we had an expert come in at the same time period and elevated levels off the charts on the air in the building. And
why didn't they just take all the money that they're spending suing you and cleaning it and just build you guys a new house? Like, it would have made so much easier for them.
Tommy D, this is all we wanted, man. That's all we wanted. We just wanted our house back. And so after that, the DES said they would, try to do some more investigating. And we talk all about this about us getting sick and getting shut off by the insurance company on these tapes. And what happened is that, they said we'd pay in the end. This is not related. Pay at the end. So they're claiming that's a defamatory statement, and I gotta say that they're denying this. I'm not. It's he said, she said, I guess, right?
Right.
But 3 people that were told this, my mother and my stepdad were told, and then when we all called them back, he said, that's not related, we're not paying for nothing to the end. And you know what happened? The cleanup ended up dragging on for 14 months, allowing it to go into a wetland, into the groundwater in the wetland, and worsening the whole condition.
So where are all the left-wing global warming alarmists who run around in all these groups, all these environmental groups that are supposed to care about the planet? Where are they? I mean, have any of them come forward and said you get oil leaking into water systems and into water tables and all this other stuff?
Well, at the time, I called everybody. I called the EPA. I called the commissioner of the DES. And only time I got some satisfaction, I wrote to Congressman Hodes. I wrote to Senator Judge Gregg. And when I wrote him, and this is 10 months deep into the spill, Then they found the mother lode. They had more environmental trucks on the property over a year after this oil spill than they did the day of the oil spill.
Wow.
And what happened was, we get back to the conversation where they were going to pay, and they shut us off and said they'd pay at the end. They told 3 people this. They deny this, okay, and that's fine. Do I have the right freedom of speech to tell what happened and tell this story? So what happened is the 14-month cleanup was done. We heard nothing from Acadia, okay? And all of a sudden, we had to file a lawsuit. So 3 years went by. Okay, now we're at the 5-year level, out of our home, in a trailer in front of our home, right? My mom and my stepdad, and you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what happened is, my opinion, they waited us out over here. So we take them to court, and this is reality. This is what happened,
right?
And I have the right to say it. And they don't want. There's a lot of things when the devil's in the details. You know what I'm saying? I get 16 hours of video record that I recorded these environmental guys as this cleanup was going on. Okay, so I was there. I have first-hand knowledge of everything between everybody. I called, like I said, the only time I got satisfaction when I called the senator up. He wrote me a letter back and said, and then all of a sudden,
we've got a friend in the governor's office that in New Hampshire that works on environmental stuff. I learned that last week, so I'll pass his name on to you.
Well, I did land up after we lost the case. We had a 2-year struggle to get back in the home, because my mother was bankrupt and my stepdad was bankrupt after that.
Now, where were you staying during this 2 years?
Originally, we were staying at the hotel they told us to go to, and the funds were depleted, and we kept being told the cleanup was done. We have an expert come in 5 times. Air Quality Management came in 5 times on behalf of us through our own insurance company, MMG at the time. And every time they came in, they found more things wrong with the property. So, and excuse me, so the cleanup should have been done in 3 months, was 14 months. So what happened is there was no response from Acadia or anybody after that. But initially they were paying, and they abruptly stopped. So, I mean, those are facts. I mean, you know what I mean? So what he said, she said, we never promised to pay in the end is something that, it's up to the American people to believe.
I had a problem with Travelocity.
Yeah.
Right? So I went on vacation. I called before I went on vacation, and I called them and I said, I want a hotel room. I have a bad back. I need a hotel room with a hot tub in the room.
Yeah.
I'm going to be gone for 2 days, and I need a hotel with a hot tub in the room. Yeah. So lady, spend a half an hour on the phone with the girl at Travelocity. She finally finds me a hotel. I get down to the hotel a few weeks later. There's no hot tub in the room. I call Travelocity.
Yeah.
It's a real short story. So the person on the phone says, yeah, well, I'm sorry. We don't have it written down here that you said you wanted a hotel, you wanted a hot tub in the room. I mean, wait a minute, you people record these conversations. Go back and find the recording. I told her I wanted a hot tub in the room. We had an extensive discussion. The most they would do is take like $20 off my bill. I'm like, no. What you need to do is either refund me, comp me the night or the weekend, or find me another hotel that's somewhere near here that's got a hot tub in the room. Yeah. They refused. Yeah. So I started a campaign on Twitter.
Yeah.
Called the Sleeping Gnome.
Oh, geez.
And I started attacking Travelocity. Well, within 5 minutes,
you get a cease and desist letter.
I got a direct message from I think it was like the corporate vice president of Travelocity, saying, "Oh, listen, I just saw your thing on Twitter. Why don't you follow this link? Why don't you follow this link?" He sent me a link.
Something fell out.
That's all right. We're live. So he sent me this link and said, if you fill out this and it's a complaint form and maybe we can help you. I'm like, why am I going to jump through 20 more hoops to maybe get a $20 discount off after what you guys did?
Yeah.
I'm not interested in getting anything back now. Yeah. I just want everyone to know how friggin' incompetent you people are and how you make promises. Well, I'll tell you what. If Mike Demers loses this case, people like us won't be able to do that. I had a problem with Walgreens. We talked about it on this show a couple weeks ago. They didn't want to send me my medication. They screwed up, and they wouldn't send me my medication until they figured out what they did wrong.
Yeah.
So I came on the show and I talked about it.
They don't want the bad publicity.
They don't want big corporations are going to use your case as a test case to stop people from bad-mouthing their product or their service or their company. Yeah. And that's why, whether you're right or you're wrong about what you're saying about Acadia, you have the right to say it.
Exactly. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just interested as to where the law is. I know there are anti-slander laws.
Right.
And of course we have free speech. So where is the line? Do we know exactly?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's in settled law. I mean, I can't slander someone and say something that I know not to be true that's then going to cause them damage.
Yeah. But if you believe it to be true, even if, say, hypothetically it's false,
yes,
they can't cease and desist you from speaking?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
it's got to be
if it's malicious, if you know it not to. See, I've been sued for slander 6 times. Okay, I've won all 6.
Nice.
There's a 4-pronged thing that they have to prove. I don't know if New Hampshire is different, but in Mass there's 4 things. You have to prove that what the person said wasn't true. Then you have to prove they knew it wasn't true or should have known it wasn't true. They should have done their research. They should have known it was true. Then you have to prove that it was malicious. So you can say something that's not true, and you can say something you know it's not true, but if you're not being malicious, if you're not trying to cost them money, if you're not trying to destroy their reputation, if you think the guy's a good guy, he's just an idiot, they're not going to win on that. And then they've got to prove financial damages. Yeah. Now, I can't see how they can prove that they have any financial damages from what you said on...
Let me jump in on this.
Unless maybe I'm wrong. Now he's going to tell me no.
Let me jump in on this. When you sue for libel slander, there's 2 different sort of methods, you might want to call it. There's one where they try to get a judge to enjoin you. Right. Censor you. You know what I mean? And make you stop. Right. And there's money damages. So it's equity or it's sue for money damages. But, I mean, from what I've read, and, I'm not an expert, but, the certain injunctions are against the First Amendment. In a sense, unless it's like you said, there's 3 categories. There's like giving locations of troops during war, causing civil unrest, or obscenity. Okay, and those are the ones I found out. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I've been reading up about it. And what they're trying to do is get me where they don't want to pay me sue me for damages, because if they sued me on civilly for money damages, then they'd have to prove, I think, damages. I think. Right. I'm not certain, you know what I mean, but I think that's the way it goes.
What they're trying is prior restraint. They're trying, trying to stop you from saying other things.
And that's against the First Amendment, I believe.
I think you're correct.
And the judge will decide that. I just want to clear one thing up, though. When I created the website, you know what I mean, once we lost the court case here, what happened was we were devastated. We were still living in a trailer in front of the home. I had to go before the town zoning board for 2 years. My mother and stepdad were filing for bankruptcy. How are we going to fix our home with nothing? You know what I mean? So we had to save, and it took us 2 years to struggle so I can gut that basement out. I remember when I came on the show, we were doing a home makeover. So the main idea of starting the show was I was doing a fundraiser. I mean, the website. That's how I created it, and I wanted to tell the world the story of what happened. I documented every conversation with the environmental people, the state of New Hampshire, and the insurance people. Every conversation. Then I filmed like 70% of it. I started first writing. I got tired of writing, so I wanted to film it so I'd have an accurate record of what was going on here at the Demers residence. And so I started a fundraiser. We had to go before the town zoning board for a year and a half, 2 years. We finally got the basement. I gutted it myself, and it got a 40-yard container and gutted it. And then we had to put a vent in there. And it was recommended that by the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services that one be put in. And I had to just seal off the basement. So right as it stands now, my mother can't go down in a basement other to wash her clothes. The place still reeks down there. And I had an interview when we moved back in. The woman who did the interview smelled the oil. You can still smell the oil to this day. Okay, and it's not
5
fair.
Years later.
No, it's 11
years later.
Okay,
11 years later.
And it's just all we wanted was our house back in the same position. That's all we ever wanted. It's in the tapes. It's on the audio. And I'm trying to get this meeting that the defamatory statement they accused me of that was said to us, and which they deny. So I want to make sure that it said that. You know what I mean? I'm not claiming anything. You know what I mean? I got to go to court now. I don't want to, say anything that's not true or that they deny. The bottom line is, she was out of the house for 7 years. It's my mother. You know what I mean?
I don't understand why they can't clean. Why can't they clean that up in a week? I don't understand.
No, it should have taken about 2 to 3 months. An average spill takes when you're actively involved in it. This went into a wetland. The state's involved. I want to tell this story because it should never happen to anybody else in this. You know what I mean?
And what happens? What happens the next time Hafner's overfills somebody's water or somebody's oil tank? That's what I'm concerned about.
They may reconsider about doing the right thing right away this time. You know what I mean? If anything happens.
Not if you lose.
No.
Not if you lose. Yeah. If you lose, then it doesn't matter, right? Because they can go They can do whatever they want. They can screw people over. They can overfill tanks. They can have they can hide behind their insurance company.
Tommy, the bottom line is I don't have to lie about anything. It was reality of what happened, and I'm entitled to my opinion.
Right.
Okay. There's another issue is with the boycott. So I started it as a fundraiser at first. Then I started to tell her story. I had already boycotted half of this before the trial. Then I decided now we're back in the house, and I'm telling the story. I'm going to boycott every one of them. I'm going to put the story out so the American people will read and view and decide. And you know what I mean?
Yep.
In a marketplace of ideas, you know what I mean? They can come to their own decision. You know what I'm saying? And that's fair. You know what I mean? And they could deny what we say. Then that's fine. You know, they have the opinions. They have the right to deny it. I'm not trying to say anything legally. We know we lost the case, like you said.
Yeah, Mike's contention online is not that he's making a legal claim.
No.
His contention online is we lost legally, but we still think morally, he still thinks morally, the Acadia Insurance Company should make his mom's house right. Yeah. And I don't see how anybody can sue you for that. I'm going to try and be there on, you said the 13th,
13th
right?
and the 14th.
And I know I have to call the court, and I got to get all that press approval.
Yeah, you got to get on
stuff.
the horn because...
I'll probably try and do that today.
Yeah.
We are out of time. I appreciate you coming up. Just give people the time frame. You're going to be starting in court on Tuesday. And how long do you expect this to last?
It could be a couple of days. It was scheduled for a couple of days. I'm trying to, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to, introduce. It's complicated. You're not a lawyer. You don't introduce stuff right. Now, I'm going to be up to 5 in the morning. I'm going to go meet their attorneys tomorrow and go over our exhibits and our.
I don't understand why they haven't settled this case with you and just said, look, I'll tell you what. We'll give you $10,000. Take everything down offline.
And that's the way to shut them up.
Right.
Yeah. We'll give you this money.
Have they offered you anything? Have they tried to settle out of court?
No.
So they're just really trying to shut you up. They don't really care.
Well, they don't like my boycott posters. They're parodies. We didn't talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, but a parody.
You got 1 minute.
Yeah. Well, I guess some parody posters and they're boycott posters. They're not to be taken literally, like as an. They're trying to claim they're highly offensive. I don't know. You've seen them, Tommy.
Yeah.
You think any of my posters?
I find some of them highly offensive.
Yo, you do?
I do. But you know what? That's what the First Amendment is for. The First Amendment is not to protect speech that's not offensive.
Yeah.
The First Amendment is to protect speech that is offensive.
Yeah. Well,
because offense is it's subjective.
Yeah.
What you find offensive, I might find
it's
funny.
Creative work. That's what I consider. I don't find it. I don't find what I did offensive and worth being sued over. You know what I mean?
Paul, less than a minute. You got any thoughts?
No. Good luck. I hope things work out for your mother. Is she okay now?
She's 73. Right? She got to go to work every day.
Yeah,
she has not. Yeah. She's been she's been 11 years. My mother hasn't had a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Stu.
It's too bad.
Awesome seeing you though again.
Hey, you too. It's
and
a radio show.
All right, sit down for while we wrap up. All right, thank you everybody for watching the Paying Attention Television podcast. Paul Morano, my co-host Stu Fink, who sits there behind me as our fine producer, Rich Russell, our photographer, who's here, Twin Lights Security, who's here guarding us today. We're glad to see all those guys here with all their guns. That's always awesome. Our charity bash, the Valley Patriot Charity Bash, March 24th at the Firefighters Relief Inn in Lawrence. Doors open at 5. Food starts at 6. We give out awards to police officers, firefighters, veterans. We give out scholarships to kids. The Valley Patriot is on the street.
Or 23rd?
The 23rd.
Yeah.
Did I say the 24th?
You said the 24th.
I'm sorry, March 23rd, Friday. The Valley Patriot is on the streets. Please pick it up. We appreciate that. Heroes in Our Midst on Amazon. And I want to give a free plug to some people that are doing some great work in media. Not many of them out there. The Methuen Loop. This is a great product. If you live in Methuen, you should pick it up. There's a lot of great stuff in here. Mike, Paul, thank you for coming. Thanks, Jeff Riley, the Superintendent Receiver in Lawrence, Commissioner of Education. Anybody else? Dave Garofalo from Two Guys Smoke Shop. We get everybody, Mr. Jonathan. And we missed Sean the Barista. We'll have him on next week. Thanks so much for watching. See you next Thursday.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.